Hi guys, I just wanted to make a quick video explaining your self-analysis research project. That is the major project for this course that is due at the end of the course. And we are coming up on that time where you definitely want to start working on that. So you can find the assignment on our course syllabus page, which is where we are right now. The syllabus tab is here on the left-hand side from any page that you're on. If you're coming from the home page, just click on the syllabus tab, and then you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom because that is where you'll find the assignment, because the assignment is due on the last day of the semester. So click on the self-analysis research project, and that will take you to the assignment page. And on the assignment page, you have all of the information that you need to understand what the requirements are of the assignment and to complete the assignment. So first and foremost, what I want to make very clear is that this is a self-analysis. So this is about you. This is not a general research paper. This is not a paper about somebody else. This is not a research project about somebody else. This is a self-analysis, and therefore you should be writing about your own personal development. So you're going to choose something about yourself. It says here, examples of areas to be analyzed include cognitive development, physical development, personality development, social development. Don't get hung up on picking one of those four areas. Those are just what I put there because whatever you choose is going to fall into one of those four categories, or it may fall into more than one. I'm going to show you a sample presentation that I created, and you'll see that my topic fell into both personality and social development. So don't get too concerned about this. Just pick anything about yourself that you would like to understand a little bit more, you would like to analyze a little bit more deeply, and analyze yourself. Tell me about why you think you developed the way you did in that area. Okay, so based on what you've been reading in your textbook, based on what we've been discussing in the class, choose a topic that you want to analyze, and then you're going to support your analysis with research. So that's the research side of this. You are going to analyze some aspect of your development, and then you're going to, again, based on what you've been reading in your textbook and also based on research that exists within developmental psychology, you're going to support that analysis. I recommend that you approach this by starting the self-analysis aspect first, and then going and looking for research to support what you analyzed or how you analyzed your development. Chances are, if you're engaging in an honest and thorough self-analysis, that you will be able to find research out there to support it. You should also be able to kind of have a, starting point based on what we've already been reading in our textbook and discussing in class. So you know that if it's in your textbook, it's definitely research-based. But approach it by starting the analysis first, because that'll make it a lot easier for you when you go and look for sources to support your analysis. Okay, so the second thing I want to really emphasize here is that this is a two-part assignment. You are writing a paper and you are creating a PowerPoint presentation of your paper. Okay, so the paper and the PowerPoint presentation are on the same topic. It's the same exact self-analysis. The way you can think of it is your presentation is basically your paper in PowerPoint format. And that's essentially it. You're giving me the main points, the highlights of your paper. You should include all of your sources. You should cite all of your sources just as you did it in your paper, but you're just giving me kind of the main points of the paper. And then of course you want to make it aesthetically pleasing. You want to include pictures. You want to make sure that your font size is appropriate, your font colors are appropriate, that if you were giving this presentation in a class, it would be easy to read the content, it would be enjoyable to look at. So you do want to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. You also want to make sure that you are listing all of your sources at the end of the presentation, just as you do with your paper. So it is essentially the same as your paper, but in presentation format. Okay, let's go back to the paper requirements for just a second. The main requirements are listed here. Must be 5 to 7 pages of content. This does not include the title page and the references page. So 5 full pages of typed content, and then on top of that, a title page and reference page or works cited page. You must have a minimum of 5 references. All of your sources need to be good quality, therefore peer-reviewed journal articles or government sites, I will accept those, are suggested. Please do not use .com websites. I would really prefer that you did not use any websites if you can manage to do that. When you are using research to support your analysis, when you're using research to support anything at the college level, you really should be using peer-reviewed academic journal articles. You can access those through the Mount SAC Library database. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to somebody at the library, or you can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to walk you through that. But those are accessible to you, and that is what you should be using to support your analysis. If you're not familiar with writing in APA format, there are some guidelines here for you that you can download. You just click on this, it'll open up for you, or it gives you the option to download the guidelines. Please read through this because a lot of your questions about APA format will be answered by reading this document. If you're familiar with MLA format, there's not a huge amount of difference except when it comes to citing your sources. So when you cite your sources, you will have a significant difference between MLA and APA. Please pay special attention to that. Another thing I recommend is actually just downloading this document and opening it up, and you can actually use this as your skeleton for writing your paper. This is a Word document that you can go in and just change your title and put your name in here and college name, etc. And then delete everything in the body and start typing your paper. That way you know that the margins are the correct size, the font size is correct, format and size. You've already got your page numbers in here. Your running head is set up for you. It's pretty much set up already in APA format to use. So I would recommend doing that to make sure that the basics of APA format are automatically met. Do pay attention to how to cite your sources though, because that's the main place where we see struggles. Okay, going back to the assignment requirements, deadline and plagiarism, papers will all be due on the day stated on the syllabus. The syllabus in Canvas, so check the syllabus page and check to see when it is due. Again, it is typically the last day of the semester. Your paper will also be run through a plagiarism checker. I recommend that you utilize this plagiarism checker that is here for you to make sure that you have at least a 75% authenticity score or higher. If you do not and you submit the paper, you will receive a 0. This plagiarism checker, you basically just copy and paste your paper into it and it'll check to see if any of your statements exist anywhere online. The reason I give you that 75% score and not 100% is because we can use quotations in your paper. That's totally fine. And the plagiarism checker will identify that as plagiarism because it's looking for those exact words. But you should not be using more than 25% quotes. Your paper should not consist of more than 25% quotations. So at least 75% of this paper needs to be written in your own words. Another thing to keep in mind is I believe the plagiarism checker here only takes about 1,000 words at a time, so you will need to check your paper in sections. So be mindful of that. As long as each section you check has 75% or above, then you're good to go. Okay, so that is the paper. The presentation again, exactly the same topic, exactly the same 5 references that you have in your paper. Sources should be the same, and they should all be cited within your presentation, and you should have a works cited slide at the end. And again, your citing should be in APA format. PowerPoints are all due on the same day as the paper. And one thing to please make special note of is that you have to save your PowerPoint as a PDF document and then upload it to Canvas, to the page. I cannot allow you to upload PowerPoints because they're just too big of files, and it ends up taking too long for you to upload. It takes too long for me to download when I'm trying to grade. And we don't have a lot of room on Canvas in general. So please make sure that you are uploading it as a PDF file. So save your PowerPoint, or if you're using Keynote, save your presentation as a PDF file and then upload the PDF file to the assignment page, which I'll show you how to do in just a minute. Okay, so really quickly, I just want to show you a sample presentation. This is one example of a topic you can choose. This is absolutely not a required topic. I don't want you to copy this topic necessarily. If it speaks to you and that's what you want to do, that's fine, but please know that you're not limited to this topic. So I chose my social and personality development when I was creating this sample, and as you can see, I decided to talk about 3 of my strongest personality characteristics, and then I essentially took each one, extroversion, family orientation, and God consciousness, and then discussed each of them separately. I talked about how I believe I developed, or why I believe I developed these characteristics, and I then discussed how that characteristic influenced my social development. So again, this is one example of a topic, but I don't want you to be necessarily taking the topic from this presentation so much as you are taking the structure of the presentation from this sample. So what you'll see is I will either talk about a characteristic and then discuss what the research says, or vice versa. So in this slide, I'm talking about how research shows that extroversion is highly hereditary. And then I talk about, why I think I have that characteristic based on this research. Both of my parents are extroverted, so there's probably a genetic predisposition. And then I talk about how extroversion can also be influenced by the environment. And then I go in and talk about how certain things in my environment probably promoted my extroversion as well. And then I talked about how being extroverted influenced my social development. So in this slide, I'm kind of doing the opposite. I'm talking about how I am. Overall, I'm a very social person. I have lots of experience socializing, which has increased my emotional intelligence. That makes me very in tune with others' emotions and makes it easier for me to be socially competent. And then I talk about how research shows that the more experience individuals have with social interactions, the more socially adept they become. So what I want you to take from this presentation mostly is the structure and how I'm citing sources, how I'm using research to support my analysis. I'm talking about myself, I'm analyzing my development in this area, and then I'm using research to support it. And then of course we've got pictures and the graphics and font and all of that is appropriate. And then on the very last slide, you're going to see my sources, and this is what I want to see on your presentation as well. In my presentation, you're going to see I have a lot of pictures of my family because, that's what I'm talking about in general. You do not have to share pictures of yourself if you're not comfortable doing so. I just want it to be aesthetically pleasing. So you can include infographics, you can include memes if you really want to choose stock photos from the internet, that's totally fine. Just give me some visuals to make the presentation something that's pleasing to look at. Okay, last but not least, the way to submit this assignment. So I'm going to jump into student view so it looks like what you will see. Okay, so you will click on this start assignment button. Then you go to file upload, choose a file to upload, and it has to be a PDF. Okay, so I'm going to go to, let's see, do I have any PDFs in my desktop? Okay, so let's say this is my paper. Okay, then I'm going to click add another file. So this was my paper. Now I'm going to choose my presentation. Choose the file for the presentation, and I'm just going to choose this PDF. Okay, and then I'm going to click submit assignment. Okay, you can submit the paper first and then go back, click start assignment again, and then submit the presentation after, but it's just easier to submit both at the same time. I'm not going to submit assignment because I don't want these files uploaded here, but that's essentially all that you have to do. Okay. So a couple of things before I end this video. Please do not procrastinate. I do not accept late papers, presentations. I don't accept the project late because it's due on the last day of the semester. So you literally have all the time of this semester to complete this assignment. So please make sure that you are starting this soon. Please make sure that you are attempting to submit your assignment well before the deadline. If you email me and say, I tried to submit and my computer froze, or et cetera, that tells me that you were submitting the assignment at like 11:50 p.m., 9 minutes before it's due. Okay, please don't do that. Please make sure you complete the assignment well in advance so that you have enough time to address any technical difficulties or issues that might arise, okay? That's one of the most important things you can do, because if you don't, then it's not submitted on time, it's late. I don't accept late assignments, so please be mindful of that. If you have any questions, if you don't really know what to write about, if you are stuck on a topic, reach out to me. Send me an email. I am more than happy to throw some ideas around with you, help you arrive at an appropriate topic. If you think you know what you want to write about and you just want to make sure that it's an appropriate topic, again, reach out to me. Contact me through email or on the Q&A board, whatever you feel comfortable with, and ask me those questions. I am here to help. Okay. All right. That is essentially it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I am looking forward to seeing these super cool self-analyses. All right. Take care.